I think he is obviously at times very shy and uncomfortable and guarded in these kind of traditional media settings that we see him in. And that's not his forte, but he is growing into it. And he's never going to be the gregarious and social and articulate type of interview that, a Weston McKennie or a Tyler Adams are. But I also think that he, maybe more so than anybody, understands team dynamics, and he has already, certainly with his time at Chelsea, seen enough ridiculousness and dysfunction to know when it happens. And I think this is as far as we have seen him go with the frustration that I think he feels right now. All of that, is to say, I think he has certainly turned the corner, and he made it very clear he's not necessarily picking the coach. No, he's not picking the coach, nor should he. But he kind of wants to get this thing going. So I'll be excited to see what he looks like on the field with the U.S. national team going forward. Anything else jump out at you in terms of the interview?
Well, I agree with you that Pulisic seemed to like the progressive approach that Gregg Berhalter took. Matt Doyle had a very good Twitter thread about this on Friday. He linked to an article in The Athletic that came out shortly after the World Cup, which I hadn't read yet, with all these analytics pointing to the fact that this was the most progressive U.S. team we've ever seen at a World Cup. And so I do think he's concerned that if they bring in a different coach, he might opt for a more conservative style. And in Pulisic's case, that would mean regressing because he likes the direction that Berhalter generally tried to take the team. So that was interesting for me as well.
He also said that they don't need a lot of quote unquote new guys coming in. So to your point, he likes the group that has been assembled. And I don't think he was saying that it can't get better, but I think he was pushing back on the narrative that there needs to be a cleaning of house. And maybe that narrative is much more outside the field as opposed to on the field, but I think he wanted to emphasize how good this group is. And there were some other things that he said that were interesting. Anything else before we move on?
Well, I would just pose a question. Why would the U.S. rehire Gregg Berhalter when they have two French legends to choose from in Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira? We haven't talked about that on this podcast. We should.
We should. But you know what I'm going to do, though? I am going to give you, later on this week, my top 5 candidates. Now, I know this is completely putting the cart before the horse, because until that position is filled. And it should be noted that Cindy Parlacone this week in the AGM for U.S. Soccer was asked about where they are going. And she reiterated that until they fill the position that is going to ultimately decide who the coach is, either in a GM or sporting director type of role, this is in stasis right now. We are just kind of waiting. But she also said that we will consult the players. Now, that is nothing new. Over the years, every president has said, yeah, we're going to take into account the wishes and the opinions of the players. Doesn't mean that Christian Pulisic or anybody else is going to ultimately pick the coach. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.